What it do, family and friends? Welcome back to the Church of Black Power. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you can be notified whenever videos like this drop. Please make sure you're hitting that like and share button so we can beat up the algorithm. Make sure we get this message out to the ears that need to hear. And if you have not done so yet, please hit that link in the description. Go to change.org and put your signature on the petition for reparations. And with that being said, family, a lot has been going on over this past week. A lot has been going on. This upcoming week, I'm going to have a few videos hitting your way. One about Diddy. One about Eric Adams and his indictment. But in this video, I really want to touch on the situation that happened over this weekend with our dear sister queen, Janet Jackson. And her, I guess you could say, her comments to the news outlet that led to several news outlets picking it up. I believe the outlet was The Guardian, which led to several outlets picking it up and just losing their minds over the fact that Janet Jackson says Kamala Harris isn't black. Now, from my understanding, Janet went on this podcast, radio show, whatever, and she went to actually promote some work that she got coming up. She went to go speak about her life's work. She went to go speak about some of the work that she has coming up. And one of the interviewers took it upon themselves to ask her something about Kamala Harris being the first black president. And, you know, Janet responded and she said, well, I heard that she wasn't black. Then the interviewer tried to correct her. I say correct in air quotes. You can't see my fingers, but I'm air quoting with the fingers. She said that she basically said that, you know, her father was black. He's Jamaican, this, that, and the third. And Jenna said, no, I heard that he was white. So that became a whole situation. It became a situation to where Janet was being put on the, the stake, trying to, shame her in some way for telling the truth. Even someone that was claiming to be Janet's manager came out and claimed that Janet reportedly apologized and blames misinformation. And when this came out, many of us, we was like, nah, I don't believe that. Say it ain't so, Janet. Cause Janet, she rarely comes out and say things, but when she does, she say it with her chest. That's what I've always loved about Janet. Janet has always been a person who speaks her mind, even though she don't really like to take interviews. She said it herself. She really doesn't like to take interviews. She would much rather sit around and listen to people talk. But if you ask her her opinion on something, or if you ask her what she thinks about something, what makes you think that she shouldn't speak her mind? So it comes out that apparently the person who came out and gave this fake apology was not the manager. And the only manager that Janet has is her brother Randy Jackson, which now people are trying to put the whole misinformation. She must have got it from Randy because they found out that Randy Jackson is a Republican. But they found out that the guy was not Janet's manager. And Janet put out a statement saying she ain't walking nothing back. And shout out to our sister queen for doing such. Shout out to our sister queen for doing such, because here's the thing. She shouldn't have to. She spoke truth to power. And there's a lot of situations going on right now. I know about the whole $1,000 bounty that was put on the head of Kamala's grandmother's pictures by Candace Owens. And I know about all the different pictures that then came out that's showing that her grandmother, her father's mother, is actually a white woman. And I'm sure she knows it too. But the audacity of anyone to try to reprimand Janet Jackson, who's done more for the community than most people can do in a lifetime. It's totally ludicrous and just outlandishly ridiculous. Outlandishly ridiculous. And they're trying to do it in the name of the granddaughter of this man. Who may be the granddaughter of this woman. Who ended up being the daughter, the son who produced the daughter, this man here, Donald Harris. And when you look at these pictures, that looks like a portrait in the pear tree. These pictures look like one big happy family. They all look alike. Kamala looks like her dad. Kamala looks like this woman. And she looks like her grandfather. And Kamala's father, Donald, looks like this woman, and he looks like this man. It's very interesting. Very interesting that this stuff is coming out. But I knew once they started messing with somebody like Janet Jackson, it was going to be a backlash like they probably never really thought they would ever see. So let me get this off the screen here. And let's get into these articles here. I want to show you some of the crash outs. Let me get this off the screen here. Your boy Download Hughley has the nerve to come out. Disrespecting Janet. The absolute gall. Let's see what he has to say here. Janet Jackson's interview sounded like a Trump rally. How did it sound like a Trump rally when the interview in itself was really about Janet Jackson's career and her upcoming projects? Literally, the question came out of nowhere towards the end of the interview. So how in the hell did the interview sound like a Trump rally? FYI, it's a little ironic to question whether someone is black while you're breathing through the nose of a white woman. Team DL. Team Down Low. Yeah, I see you out there, Down Low. This man has the unmitigated gall. This dude, he thinks he is the toughest and the most heard person in the room. And as you can see, a lot of people ain't going for it. But I also want to get to his next one. Kamala looks the way she does because she has a mom from India and a dad from Jamaica. Hashtag Janet Jackson. Look the way she does because she has a plastic surgeon. Now, excuse me. That's Kamala's grandfather on her father's side. That's Kamala's father and maybe mother. I mean, I don't see the Jamaican. If you're speaking about black Jamaican. Now, if you're talking about Irish Jamaican, oh yeah, that's definitely right there. I could definitely see some Irish Jamaican there. I can definitely see some Indo Jamaican right there. But when you're trying to speak about Janet, as if you're not running around here looking like this, looking like you are literally a Batman villain. You're the underling of the Penguin. You could be Joker's best friend. Leather skin. You look like someone came and pulled back all your skin and clamped it like that damn Family Guy goddamn clip where Peter lost all that weight and he had all the fat just loose and stuff. And then someone grabbed all the fat and clamped it behind his back. This is what D.L. Hughley looks like. Someone pulled back all his dead skin and clamped it to the back of his neck. D.L. Hughley looks like he's in the middle of transforming into a lizard monster. He's in between the transformation. He's turning into the goddamn lizard from Spider-Man. Half through the transformation, his body said, you know what, fuck it, and just stopped. This man has the nerve. Running around here looking like a 80-year-old Chris Brown wannabe. I'm so glad, and this is nothing against anybody with tattoos, but I'm so glad that I wasn't one of those tattoo heads that wanted to go and get tatted up the neck and the back to look young and all this other stuff. I'm still young, but Exhibit A. Look at this man. Look at this man. And people have been putting out DL's laundry because you shouldn't be talking shit, my guy. You should be keeping your mouth absolutely closed. You are literally trying to attack a black woman for a woman who's ambiguously Indian. We can't even say black. We got to say ambiguously Indian, Irish. All that protect black women. Y'all just don't want to see a black woman in power. One of the most prolific women within black culture comes out and make a statement. Now the world is ending. This is why we shouldn't listen to any type of entertainers. Then why are people listening to D.L. Hughley? Why are people choosing to listen to Taylor Swift? Oh, it's all protect black women until black women don't agree with the DemoRats. Then it goes from protect black women to attack black women. Put a target on the back of black women. But this goes, and this is why I'm naming this redefining what black means in America. Because that's what they're damn sure trying to do. They want to attack the actual black women while sitting here trying to protect and lift up this ambiguous Indian Irish woman. This is what we have going on, ladies and gentlemen. But our people's on it. This man has been disrespectful towards black women for some time now. He has a history, it seems.
Face it, you know, he called them hoes, nappy-headed hoes, and they weren't hoes. But it was some nappy-headed women on that team. Shut up, I'm gonna say it, I don't give a damn, y'all like it or not, you know it's true. Them are some of the ugliest women I ever seen in my whole life. Thank you, good night, everybody. Ross here, thank you.
So it's not, how do you say, out of the ordinary for this man to be disrespecting black women. What happened to protect all black women? What happened to listen to all women? Well, unless they're actually a black woman. And that's including his own damn daughter.
And it's always, and the reason it hits home to me is because my youngest daughter said something happened to her, and because it was somebody I liked, I didn't believe her. And I'll never get that back. She'll never, I'm supposed to protect her, and I'll never get that back that she told her father something, and he didn't do nothing about it. Because it was inconvenient. So I could see how that could play. And it's always inconvenient, and the reason it hits home to me.
Including his own daughter. So it's protect black women. It's believe all women until a black woman disagrees with the DemoRats. Even if it's your own damn daughter. This man chose not to listen to his daughter voice a situation where she herself went through a situation. And y'all know what that situation is. I ain't got to say it. And because the person that she was calling out was his friend, this man chose not to believe his own daughter. So believe black women only applies to certain people. Believe all women only applies to certain people. Protect all black women only applies to certain people. And it seems like the people they're trying to make it apply to, they're trying to redefine what black is so that it applies to everyone who isn't black, while the black woman is taking the shots. This is what's going on, family. DL has shown his off-codeness several times over.
Black people are jealous of gay people. That America was taking transgender scouts. Okay, I'm a liberal. Dig it. I dig it. When I got a gay daughter, I got a daughter.
Oh, your daughter is gay?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you had a baby outside of your marriage.
Sure.
And the boyfriend of the mother ended up killing the child?
Sure. Shook it, saying, unless my friend calls me and says, the baby's in the hospital, he's not gonna make it. And I remember praying that God would take this off me. My prayer was answered. To Trump, black people are...
This man wished death upon his own damn child. Do you think anybody should be listening or paying attention to what the hell this Negro has to say, especially when it comes to morality, especially when it comes to a topic such as what blackness is in America? I don't think so. I don't believe this man should have an opportunity to even speak to us about anything when it comes to morality. You couldn't protect your daughter when she came to you for help. You wish death upon a child that you had with someone outside of your marriage. Yeah, you try to come to us and tell us how we should be trying to protect and support Kamala Harris? You couldn't protect and support your own, but you want us to protect and support Kamala Harris? Oh, family. You know that's not how we get down. But then, you know, they had these other super moronic people coming out trying to shame and finger wag at Janet as well. Here go Mr. Moistness 2.0 1005. Let's hear what he has to say. Hopefully every word isn't a curse word.
Now, Miss Jackson, I was getting ready to get real nasty on your ass, but instead I decided to delete and retract the tweet because, you know what, I was coming from a place of anger, not understanding, because I do understand that you just lost your brother and you're possibly still grieving. But I'm just let you know right now, you are too grown to be going off of what the internet or what you done heard. You need to start doing research. And for you not to understand or know who Vice President Kamala Harris is or not know anything about her background is very telling. You are about to be 60 years old, sis, and you're telling me you do not know who is running for the highest office in the land. But as far as Kamala Harris' blackness go, I want you to look at your biracial children and you tell me if they're black. Did you know that two things can exist at the same?
Yes, they are. Because their mother is unquestionably a black woman. A foundational black American, to be more specific. See, all this, look at your children and see if they're black. You're not changing the dynamic by saying that. All you're doing is trying to compare apples to fucking rotten tomatoes. You're trying to compare apples to rotten tomatoes. This woman has no tie to us. Janet Jackson comes from, if not the most, one of the most prolific black American families in our American history. Not just in black history, in American history. The Jacksons are one of the most known black Americans around the world. So she wanted to have a baby with a white dude. That's on her. I don't agree with it, but that's Janet. But guess what? Janet's kids are biracial and they are black because guess what? They can look at their black mother directly in the face. They're not looking at an Indian mother in the face with a hyper-androgynous father. See, these people, they come with these bad faith arguments, these nonsensical tactics in order to try to get other people to say, well, that's true, she did have a baby by a white dude. It still does not change her bloodline, nor those children's bloodline, nor their lineage connected them right back to chattel slavery here in America. The disrespect. I'm gonna let this stay on the screen while he finishes.
Same time, you can be black and brown simultaneously. Now, everybody want to blame somebody else or blame you for living in a bubble, but baby, the only person I can blame is you. Again, you are too grown to not know this information. Please, Janet, no more running with rumors. Remember, you said you didn't like rumors either. Remember when they said you had a secret baby that you hid away from the world? Wasn't that hurtful? It's just as hurtful as spreading rumors about Kamala Harris's blackness and erasing it. Kamala Harris's father is a whole black Jamaican man.
Now, family, I want you to understand something, because this man said something that was very dumb. He said, you lived in California. You're telling me you don't know who the woman is running for president? Well, she does know who Kamala Harris is, because this is Kamala Harris here.
That could mean life in prison, and cases like this can depend on the testimony of the child accuser.
In general, the child will be able to...
Uh-oh. 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 Yeah, she was a part of that whole little crew. The whole crew. Let's get that over.
That could mean life in prison, and cases like this can depend on the testimony of the child accuser.
In general, the child will be able to recall and recollect with some detail the incident, and that is persuasive to a jury, even if it is the only testimony that is available.
Jackson gave a wave when he was released after booking. He's scheduled for arraignment in January.
Michael's been a long-time resident of Trump Tower, and last night the Donald strongly reiterated his defense of Jackson with Larry.
It is very ironic that the two people that are in these clips are the two people running for president, but yet people really want us to look the other way from Kamala's her prosecution history, her attorney general history. We're supposed to look away from that. And Janet's supposed to look away from the fact that she participated in the interview that was slandering her brother. And see, when people say dumb stuff like, you need to get to know, they don't even damn know. Let's head here to this Latino. Shout out to Black Alpha for posting this. The Latino says Kamala has more black experience than Janet Jackson. Really? The woman whose mother moved to Oakland and purchased a house in Canada before she moved to Canada when she was about what? In elementary? Heading to middle school? Kamala been in this country how long? How long was she raised in Canada? I don't know if Janet Jackson ever spent summers in out in, India with family members on her mother's side. No. Oh, she didn't, because her mother's Black American and her father's Black American. Gary, Indiana. But let's hear what this idiot has to say.
Who's surprised by Janet Jackson's statement? When the last time Janet Jackson had a black experience in America, let alone a real job? This woman being...
Justin Timberlake ripped off a piece of clothing that exposed Janet Jackson's breast at the Super Bowl. The mainstream media, the lamestream media, targeted Janet Jackson as if she was the person who ripped off the article of clothing, as if she was the person who actually sewed the clothing together, as if she planned it. They went after her for years. And guess who it was? The same people that was going after her brother, the Democratic left-leaning media. The right wasn't saying too much of anything in the manner that the left-wing media was doing. They was pushing and creating stories. The right wing wasn't. Now, this isn't a praise for the right-wing media. This is just what was going on. I was alive during the time I seen it happen. ABC, CNN, CSNBC, which was NBC at the time. These were the people who targeted this sister. I ain't never seen Kamala Harris get targeted in the way Janet Jackson was targeted, even though she should be targeted for her career and her record in California. Let's continue.
And rich and famous most of her life. She had the luxury of only dealing with her problems and her trauma and her bubble with the money and resources to get professional help.
Kamala Harris comes from a slave-owning family in Jamaica, and her mother's side, the Brahmin Indian, comes from a caste system where her grandfather was Attorney General of the country. It's either Attorney General or something like that. He was a high-ranking official in that country. So tell me again how Janet grew up privileged. Kamala grew up, if not more privileged, just as privileged. But continue.
While the rest of us, we have our own trauma and problems to deal with. Aside from that, we have to go work a 9-to-5 and problems and stress to deal with in the job environment. And then we have to interact with this society. I'll tell you this, regardless of Kamala's race, ethnicity, culture, whatever, she's more connected to the people than Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson been disconnected. The only people that I really see that rock with each other is Black Caribbean people. Other than that, everybody else is in their own slice. And whereas Black Americans, you got to get in where you fit in. Who's surprised?
Did y'all catch that, family?
You got to get in where you fit in. Only people that I really see that rock with each other is Black Caribbean people. Other than that, everybody else is in their own slice.
So the only people that rocks with each other are Black Caribbeans. The same people that mostly don't claim blackness. And if they do, they didn't start claiming blackness until as of recently when we started delineating. But you think that it was just a wimp situation to why he threw that in there? Because that has nothing to do with the Janet Jackson situation. The only people that get along is Black Caribbeans, and Black Americans got to get in where they fit in. What the hell? You're not getting along in your own home countries, but you know, the only people that get along are you guys, right? Black people got to get in where they fit in, and the Black Americans got to get in where they fit in, but you got to come to America in order to get along with other Caribbean countries. Do you hear the nonsense? Complete and utter nonsense. So then you have these idiots coming out giving Janet Jackson the donkey of the day after they allowed, and I was going to play the phone calls, but I'm not going to do that to you. You can go back and watch this if you want. Matter of fact, to make sure they don't try to hit me, we're going to throw up the logo over it. Excuse me. I was going to play the phone calls, but you can go back and listen to the phone calls if you would like. However, I just want you to hear what these idiots gave Janet Jackson.
All right, Charlamagne.
Well, the people have spoken. Janet Jackson, you need to come to the front of the congregation. We would like to have a word with you.
Damn it.
Please give Janet Jackson the biggest hee-haw. Listen.
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Monique was right. Monique was right as hell when she said this.
Eddie, thank you so much, my sweet baby, for having us.
Why you keep thinking them? Not me.
You know what, brother? You're going to hear yourself a lot from me lately. You're going to hear yourself around the world because we have to explain brothers like you. We do. And when we watched that movie, Birth of a Nation, and we saw that man walk his wife into that master's house, we watched him walk his wife in. Then we watched him go back and get him. You're that brother. I thank y'all for your time, my babies. Thank you.
She was absolutely right, but she was wrong about one thing. She only pointed to Charlamagne when she said, "You're that brother." Yes, he is that brother, but DJ Evo Envy, excuse me, he's that brother too. Now, he might not be black, but they all participate, so they all get that title. But she was absolutely, absolutely correct. But that wasn't enough. You know what the Democratic Party said?
Send in the clowns.
And that's what they did. However, now that we got that through there, we're going to get to some people who actually make sense in life, who actually spoke up against the nonsense that many of these people were saying. This brother here, hold on, let me take this off the screen here. There we go. Let's hear what this brother had to say.
Black folk, let me make sure I get this straight. You want to cancel Janet Jackson, Michael's little sister, in the same month that Tito died. You want to cancel Penny from Good Times. You want to cancel a cultural icon that we grew up with, that we know for certain is black. We know the whole family, from the father to the mama to the brothers and sisters, even some of the cousins. You want to cancel her over some Johnny-come-lately chick that you know didn't come from a black mama, whose father's questionable. Y'all done lost y'all's minds.
Shout out to the brother. Shout out to that brother. And shout out to this sister here as well. Cause this sister here, Tara Perry, she's been holding it down and going off on a lot of situations when it comes to Cop Mala. But let's hear what this sister has to say.
Y'all can't cancel Janet Jackson, and how dare y'all try? Charlamagne's a nerve of you to try to give her donkey of the day. Like, really? I find it extremely interesting that the media now wants to go around saying that Janet Jackson is engaging in misinformation and disinformation. While ever since Kamala Harris has entered into this race, there's been nothing but conversations about her being black and black American and African American. Are you serious? instead of acknowledging the fact that Kamala Harris is in fact Jamaican and Indian, right? Because, well, her birth certificate actually says her mother is Caucasian, her father is Jamaican. I don't know how you guys get black from those two options. That's partly why we never hear anything from Kamala Harris' father, who basically doesn't identify as a black man, and that's okay. So all of these debates about if Kamala Harris is black or is she not, you know, let me provide some context for you. While Kamala's father, Donald Harris, was in the United States getting his PhD in economics on a student visa, Janet Jackson's father, Joseph Walter Jackson, was growing up in the South in racist Arkansas and a victim of underfunded schools, growing up in the Jim Crow South and locked out of the economic American system. This man had to raise his 10 kids in a 2-bedroom house in Gary, Indiana, working in the steel mills in Chicago, eventually gets laid off and has to put his kids into show business to actually make a living for themselves. That is the Black American experience for many people. Not PhDs, not being professors of economics at UC Berkeley, or not being a cancer researcher. These are the privileges afforded to immigrants who come here to America, and that's great for them, right? But you can't try to usurp the history of Black American people who truly come from real struggle, from really combating the American system, and try to cloak somebody in that blackness and say that they're absolutely black, they're absolutely African American, they're absolutely freemen, they absolutely come from this stock of people when they do not. That is the ultimate misinformation, disinformation that the media itself has been engaged in, that all of Kamala Harris's surrogates have been engaged in, all of these celebrities have been engaged in. Everybody is so concerned with her being black and telling us she's black, but she's not saying she's black. Until you guys can have an honest conversation about truly her being Jamaican and Indian, run her like that, right? But you are really trying to avoid having to provide some real deliverables for Black American descendants of chattel slavery. You're trying to get us to run out and vote on emotion. It's not happening this time. It's not happening again. This is all a ploy for you all to keep from having to give us tangibles for us to run out and vote. Actually do something. Actually put something on the platform to get Black American descendants of chattel slavery to run out and vote. Instead, you want to constantly engage in these arguments whether she's black or not. The delegation has spoken. She's not. Now that y'all have been put on notice, go back to the drawing board, come back, and then we can try to move forward with some real fruitful conversations. But as of now, it just is what it is. Janet's right, and we don't have to accept her as black. Give us some real tangibles, and then maybe we can have a conversation. Until then, I don't know. Her dad's Irish.
That's it, and that's all, family. And y'all ain't about to run around here acting like we got a short memory either, because it was y'all that was bragging to us about Kamala being the first Indian American this, the first Asian American that, the first Caribbean American this. Y'all never said she was the first black anything until she started trying to run for president, and all that got shut down by us in the last run that she tried to do in 2019 when we shut it down. We shut it down. And y'all wasn't going to redefine what blackness is then, and you're not going to redefine what blackness is now. Let's get to this. Because as I stated, we close that down, family. Excuse me, my bad. Let's go here. This right here is what I'm speaking about. Knowing they have nothing that they can use that'll pull us on. Now what they want to do is what? Redefine what blackness is.
It's funny how this Trump campaign, all of his campaigns, all three of them, have really destroyed people's legacies. Like people who normally didn't say nothing, try to come out and be on this side or that side and just manifested their ignorance in ways that Janet is doing. And to let this happen and go on for 3 days, like you said, and not issue any apology, you know, this is a non-apology apology, right? Meaning that by her not saying anything, she's fueling the flames of more ignorance and disrespect towards Vice President Harris. But another thing I want to talk about is that, you know, Vice President Harris's lineage is actually an opportunity for us to reframe the conversation about how we look at race. Because the fact of the matter is that you can't frame the conversation. Is actually an opportunity for us to reframe the conversation about how we look at is that, you know, Vice President Harris's lineage is actually an opportunity for us to reframe the conversation. Want to talk about is that, you know, Vice President Harris's lineage is actually an opportunity for us to reframe the conversation about how we look at race. Because the fact of the matter is that you can't be half black and half Indian, right? Like black is a race, Indian is a nationality. She is a...
Wrong. See, he said it very, very much so. Very, very much so out of line and out of character for us. Because Indian is a nationality, but the race that they put on the census is white. The race that they put on the census is white. And they're considered white, Caucasian. They're either Asian or Caucasian. One would argue they're kind of the same thing, because the Caucasus Mountains is in the mountains of Asia. But you get what I'm saying. But let's go back one more time.
Look at a race, because the fact of the matter towards Vice President Harris. But another thing I want to talk about is that, you know, Vice President Harris's lineage is actually an opportunity for us to reframe the conversation about how we look at a race. Because the fact of the matter is that you can't be half black and half Indian, right? Like black is a race, Indian is a nationality. She is a black American woman of Indian and Jamaican heritage.
Notice, he just said Kamala Harris is a black American woman of Indian and Jamaican heritage. How can you be a black American woman of Indian and Jamaican heritage? That doesn't make you a black American woman. A black American woman is a woman who is black and born in America. A foundational black American woman is a woman who's black, who's born in America, whose lineage goes back to the fields of the slaves. So what the hell is this man speaking about? In no logical sense, no logical order does that make sense, excuse me. In no logical conversation would that make sense. She's a black American woman with Indian and Jamaican heritage. But her mother is considered a white. And her father is Jamaican Irish. See, they trying to Rachel Dolezal this situation so hard. They're trying to redefine what blackness is, trying to reframe what blackness is. And it just ain't working out for them. But let me show you why they're trying to do these things, because they're trying to remove the actual claim from the actual people who actually have the claim to blackness in this country as black American citizens. We're going to go over this. This panel here is trying to make Black Americans believe that immigration is a black issue. And we're going to get deeper into this panel on another video, because I do have the whole meeting. But I want you to hear what some of the things that they're saying.
The American Immigration Lawyers Association is pleased to present this ALA University video roundtable entitled Immigration is a Black Issue, a conversation about Black immigrants in the United States.
I'm here today as a proud Afro-Latina of Panamanian descent. My parents and grandparents were born and raised in Panama. My great-grandparents hailed from Jamaica and Barbados. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. And based on what I saw around me, I thought that everyone was like me from somewhere else.
I love the name of this event, that immigration is a Black issue. It's actually on DocuBlack's tagline. It's usually what we put on our t-shirts and merch and other things. And I think it's such a simple concept, but it's one that I think many of the folks on this call and other Black immigrant rights organizations have really fought to solidify as something that we don't just say, but that's something that is substantive in its meaning, right? This idea that immigration is a Black issue.
Yeah, family. So that's what they're trying to do. They're pulling all this stuff. They're trying to redefine what blackness is. They're trying to reframe what blackness is. They're trying to make immigration a Black issue so that we can have people like Luke Campbell. So we can have more people like Luke Campbell. Shout out to B-Zilla for posting this. Luke Campbell talking about this is me laughing when you thought you were going to get reparations from Trump. No one ever said that we're going to get reparations from Trump. But we damn sure know that we ain't going to get it from the DemoRats. Kamala, who said out of her own mouth she wasn't going to do anything to just benefit Black people. No! B-Zilla says, and this is what a tether looks like. And he is not alone. So how can we come together with people who hold this much ill will for the community that financially changed his life? We should be reframing what blackness is. We should be reframing what blackness in America looks like so that we can have more of this. They're trying to make immigration a Black issue so that we can have more people like him. No. So that we listen to people like her when it comes to Black issues. This Nicaraguan woman, Ana Navarro. She shouldn't even be speaking up on Black issues, but yet, if they reframe what blackness is, if they redefine what blackness is, hell, who's to say she's not Black enough in order to speak up on our issues? If Kamala Harris is Black enough, let's listen to what this weirdo has to say.
She made a mistake. We don't know what she said because it's been one thing and another. Look, I think Janet Jackson, like every other American, whether you're a celebrity or not, has a right to endorse, support, or not support whomever they want. So she's got every right to not like Kamala Harris if she doesn't want to.
But that's not what she said.
What she doesn't know, what she did was spread misinformation.
The View does nothing but spread information, misinformation, disinformation. in the name of Kamala Harris. And before her, y'all was doing it in the name of Joe Biden. And before Joe Biden, y'all was doing it in the name of Barack Obama. Do not speak about misinformation, disinformation, when that's all the View does. It's put out misinformation, disinformation. And the one time Whoopi Goldberg spoke up and actually told the truth, she got suspended and had to come back and apologize. So she got some damn nerve talking about what she did to spread misinformation. All they do is spread misinformation, disinformation.
And I think it's very irresponsible when you have a platform the way Janet Jackson does to use that platform carelessly to spread misinformation based on a racist allegation by Donald Trump.
Notice how she tried to make this about Donald Trump. It's not a racist allegation. It is a fact that Black Americans been calling out Kamala Harris since she tried to run for president in 2019. It is an absolute fact that it was Black Americans who shut down her presidential run in 2019 due to the fact that she was mass incarcerating Black women and men, locking up women for truancy laws, even though their children were either sick or was in a hospital or whatever the situation may be, keeping people locked up so that she can maintain her slave labor, making sure that her inmates in California was fighting the California wildfires. Do not try and make this about Donald Trump when it was Black Americans who's been calling out Kamala Harris on this since 2019, since she tried to run for president, way before Tulsi Gabbard came out and started saying the exact same things that we were saying. Where do you think Tulsi Gabbard got her talking points from? The same place Donald Trump got his talking points from. The Black grassroots. And that's the problem with a lot of these DemoRats. They will sit here and try to make it seem like it's a racist trope when it's coming from the Black community. It is a xenophobic trope when it's coming from the Black community. Anti-immigrant trope when it's coming from the Black community. And all we're doing is calling out all the nonsense that these people are partaking in that do not benefit our community whatsoever. That do not benefit our children, our children's children, or their children whatsoever.
Right? It was Donald Trump who tried to say Kamala Harris just turned Black. So let's just go through the 101.
No, it was Donald Trump repeating that Kamala Harris just turned Black. It was him repeating, but who actually brought that to the forefront? I did a video a few weeks ago where I actually showed some of those tweets from 2019 where they was calling Black American bots. The same way they were trying to call us bots in 2016 when we wasn't rocking with Hillary Clinton. You see, family, we shut down presidential elections when we don't rock with presidentials. If we're not rocking with you, we're not rocking with you. And there's only one pathway to the White House, and that's through Black America. But if you think that you're going to get to that president seat, and that road ain't gonna be paved through the communities of Black America, I guarantee you, you're gonna be on the dirt road to nowhere if you're a DemoRat. Let's let that be known. Even if you're a Republican. Because the Democrats only win when Black folks show up. and y'all lose when we don't.
Kamala Harris is the daughter of two immigrants. Her mother is South Asian from India. Her father is black from Jamaica. Here is a picture for all of you who need, or for Miss Jackson. If you're nasty, here's the damn picture.
Always trying to use that picture. Have you ever wondered why Kamala's father has never came out and did an interview in, you know, her honor, in favor of her? Have you ever? I mean, he spoke with Judge Joe Brown. He told Judge Joe Brown that he was Irish, Jamaican, Irish, Indian, Jamaican. So why hasn't he come out and just spoken up? Could the grift be over? But they want to reshape what black Americans look like. They want to redefine what black is in America, so that they can give all the amenities to people who are not black in America, and take the amenities away from people who are. Let's get into this.
Especially black Americans, do not trust Kamala Harris.
I'm so proud of you right now, because you walked all the way down here and I wasn't expecting you to walk.
My daughter, Shayla, suffers from sickle cell anemia, a chronic, painful genetic disease.
As a prosecutor and law enforcement, I have a huge stick.
It's a very sharp, stabbing pain, and it hurts a whole lot. Like from my chest all the way down, it hurts, including my side.
So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy.
When Kamala Harris was the California Attorney General, she had me arrested and prosecuted because my handicapped daughter was sick in the hospital and had missed some days of school.
I spent a majority of my time here at the hospital.
Kamala's horrible policies hurt mothers like me and the black community. My name is Sheree Peoples, and this is my story. I am a single mother. I've worked as a certified nursing assistant and a caregiver. My daughter Shayla was born in 2002. When she was born, she was diagnosed with sickle cell anemia. It affects all major organs in the body and also causes extreme pain. Her whole life, she has been on medications like morphine and Dilaudid to help her control the pain. In addition, she had to undergo blood transfusions every 3 weeks. My lifestyle became taking care of her almost full time.
These are the black people right here that the Democratic shills would love us to reframe what blackness is, to take away from this story, and how people who look like us are treated by people who look like Kamala Harris. We're going to get through this whole clip here because there's a lot of great information here, including the fact that Kamala knew that disproportionately black families would be harmed when she implemented her policies, her draconian policies. But let's continue, family.
It is pretty typical for kids with Shayla disability to miss a lot of school.
I just got out of school. I've done 3 full days this week. Oh, I'm so tired.
And for years, the teachers were aware of her condition and her absences were all excused. California schools get their state and federal funding based off of average daily attendance. Schools are paid about $30 per student per day.
In San Francisco, we threatened the parents of truants with prosecution.
I first heard of Kamala Harris when she got elected California Attorney General.
We are putting parents on notice. We are going to make sure that you face the full force and consequences of the law.
She wrote a report saying truancy was costing California schools $1.4 billion a year in funding.
Because of truancy, California public schools lose $1.4 billion a year in funding. I want money.
Now, family, this is the Kamala Harris that they try to say doesn't exist. This is the Kamala Harris that they tried to convince people does not exist, that people from California was just lying about. As if the internet doesn't exist, as if we don't have receipts, as if we can't pull up the invoices. But let's continue.
Kamala then wrote a law making it criminal for parents if their kids miss school time. Kamala even wrote a book called Smart on Crime.
You can read an excerpt from the book that she just plugged shamelessly. It's called Smart on Crime.
Talking about arresting parents for truancy.
I sent a letter on my letterhead out to every parent in the public school system.
In 2012, like all California parents, I received a threatening letter from Kamala Harris saying we'll go to jail for a year if our kids even miss 10% of school days. It was like...
Now know this, family. She said 2012. Who was president in 2012? Come on, you can say it. You can go ahead and say it. Who was president in 2012? Barack Obama. So not only did this happen under a Democratic governor, a Democratic district attorney, a Democratic attorney general. It also happened under a Democratic president. And nobody looked at what she was doing and said, hey, what you're doing is disproportionately negatively affecting Black Americans. You need to stop. That is predatory. It is discriminatory. You need to stop. Not one. No one came out and spoke about this. But Black Californians. Let's continue.
Like a crazy intimidation tactic.
I'm going to start prosecuting parents for truancy.
I thought, wow, this woman doesn't have any empathy. Is it because she's not a mother? I also thought, how could she not understand it would disproportionately affect people of color, single Black mothers?
Oh, but my sister, she understood very well who it would disproportionately affect. That's why she chose to put her policies, her draconian policies, in place. Let's continue.
But honestly, I didn't imagine it could affect me. Her teachers had her medical records from the Children's Hospital. I even had a 504 plan, which was an agreement between the school district and the parents to provide care for students with disabilities. It was April 18th, 2013, in the morning. I'm in my pajamas. I had just fed my daughter, gave her medications, sent her off to school. Little did I know, there was a warrant out for my arrest. All of a sudden, the police is outside my house, and they started banging on the door. I opened up my door, and 2 officers entered my home. They told me I was under arrest for my child missing school. They said I was going to jail. I was shocked. I said, but my baby is sick. The school knows that. And they said, go talk to Kamala Harris. Place your hands behind your back.
Go talk to Kamala Harris. Place your hands behind your back. In other words, we don't give a damn. You need to go speak to that Indian woman. You need to go speak to that Indian woman. But they want to reframe what blackness is because of that Indian woman when she did things like this to actual black people. To actual black women. To an actual young black girl.
My mom did nothing wrong. We did everything we were supposed to. I was always bringing doctor's notes, always calling the school to let them know that I was in the hospital.
Then they handcuff me. So they take me outside for what you call a perp walk. And oh my God, the TV news was there. The newspapers were there. You could swear I had killed somebody.
They had the lamestream media waiting outside this woman's house for the perp walk so that they could take pictures and use her as an example and use her picture for all the articles and make sure that people know, oh, we're arresting black people. We're arresting black women. We're arresting black men. We're arresting them for their children not going to school or whatever you may have you. Kamala's whole career was about showing black people as inmates and trying to keep them as inmates.
It was degrading and humiliating. I was taken to the Criminal Justice Center. They took my mugshot. I was fingerprinted like a criminal, and I was terrified.
And it felt like I caused her so much pain because in reality it is because of me, even though I know it's not directly my fault. Sorry.
The next day, the Orange County Register showed the pictures of my arrest. They even had a close-up picture of my hands.
Do you see the caption, family? Keeping kids in school out of gangs. This was the narrative that this devilish woman put on black Americans. This was what she pushed her whole career in California. But we need to redefine and reframe what black is in America because of this very same woman who literally targeted the black communities in America. Make it make sense. And it's heartbreaking to watch this little girl tell the story. The trauma that they didn't put on this little girl. The trauma that they put on this little girl. Outside of the trauma that she was already dealing with for having sickle cell anemia. These are the people we're supposed to be reframing blackness for. The person who did this to them. Let's continue.
in handcuffs to show here's a black mother being arrested.
It was a truancy rate at over 2.5 times that of white students.
Everyone knew.
Notice what she just said.
They even had a close-up picture of my hands in handcuffs to show here's a black mother being arrested.
It was a truancy rate at over 2.5 times that of white students.
A truancy rate that of 2.5 times white students. So she knew exactly who the truancy laws would be affecting and who would be targeted, because the truancy rate was 2.5, that the size of white students. Now, if those white students had 2.5 times the truancy rate of black students, you would not have seen Kamala Harris going after white parents with these draconian laws. So she knew exactly who she was targeting because she had the data to showcase who were these students. And let's look at this.
Everyone knew most truant kids were black. I think Kamala Harris wanted me as an example to threaten other single black mothers, like, this can happen to you if you don't get your kids in class. The police even put out a press release naming me and other black single mothers like Toya Daniels, who got arrested the same day.
So they were out here arresting black parents. They were out here arresting black parents, doing the perp walk on these black parents and scattering all of these articles across the web. All across mainstream media. Kind of the way they're doing Janet Jackson for her comment, right? This is how you weaponize a system against a group of people. Dehumanize them to society so that society will feel, well, hey, they deserve it. Let's continue.
But my hell was just beginning. They gave me 2 charges: failure to supervise and encourage school attendance, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. I couldn't believe it. They framed my daughter as a gang member and basically charged me with neglect. I spent the next 2 years in court fighting these charges. Kamala assigned her nastiest prosecutors to my case.
My homicide prosecutors, my gang prosecutors. And they went over there and I said, when you go over there, look really mean.
Like 10 different prosecutors. They kept pressuring me to plead guilty and spend a year in jail. But I kept refusing because I did nothing wrong. All the time.
Did y'all get that, family? She sent out her gang unit prosecutors, her criminal prosecutors, homicide prosecutors, and gang prosecutors on a mother whose daughter was literally in a hospital just so she can get some bones in California. Just so she can show off to the white folks, hey, look at me getting all the Negroes. But we got to reframe and redefine what blackness is in America because of this woman. Okay.
I had to spend going to court. I was struggling to care for my Shayla. I lost my job and couldn't pay rent, and we got evicted. I became homeless. We had to move into a motel.
And I ended up being in the hospital a lot during her trial. And in that hospital stay was when I had my stroke.
I had a stroke about 4 or 5 days ago, and right now I'm doing pretty good. My hand is doing okay, I guess.
This should piss you off. This should piss anyone off who claims to be pro-black, who claims to be for the black community. This little girl had a stroke due to the actions of Kamala Harris. On top of her sickle cell anemia. That should infuriate you. That happened to a young black girl. Because Kamala Harris wanted to target black parents. But we got to reframe, redefine what blackness is in America because of that woman. You can't make this up.
In 2015, after 2 years, they finally just gave up and dismissed my case. In 2018, the Supreme Court of California ruled that truancy cannot be punished by incarceration. It was unconstitutional. The courts finally stopped Kamala Harris' abuses.
So after all that, it took the Supreme Court. It took the Supreme Court to deem locking up parents for truancy to be unconstitutional. It took all of that. But our sister still went through all of that. Her daughter still went through all of that. And all the other parents who was locked up because of Kamala Harris went through all of that. Only for the Supreme Court to come back and say this isn't constitutional. It would seem like the courts get involved with a lot of Kamala Harris's situations, a lot of her cases. When she was trying to overextend the time on certain inmates because she wanted cheap slave labor, the courts have to get involved then. When she didn't want to introduce evidence in the brother's case that was on death row, the courts had to get involved then. So it seemed like the courts are getting involved a lot in the policies that Kamala Harris has implemented. And a lot of those policies, majority of those policies, all target black men and black women, but we need to redefine and reframe what blackness is because of her lineage. Oh, no. Let's let our sister finish up here and I'm going to close out.
When I look back, I ask, why did Kamala Harris arrest me? Why was Kamala Harris so insensitive to a black woman with a handicapped child? Well, first, I learned that Kamala Harris has no common experience with black people. She grew up with an Indian mother. I remember she kept saying she was Indian.
To become the first Indian senator in U.S. history, which would be quite an accomplishment.
Not good.
What we're going to cook today is an Indian recipe.
Yes.
Because you are Indian.
Yes.
And I learned she grew up in Canada, not in the United States, and went to a wealthy high school. I think in Canada, she must not have been exposed to American values, which respects the rights of individuals. When Kamala Harris ran for president in 2019, they asked her about arresting people like me, and she just lied her ass off.
The truancy program got a lot of criticism too. Did you actually lock anybody up?
No, we never locked anybody up. We never sent a parent to jail. And no parent went to jail. And we did prosecute some cases, but far few, only about 20.
It's our
So all you people out there talking about Kamala Harris never locked up any parents, she just sat here and lied. We just showed you how she lied and showed you the beginning and ending stages of her lie. Let's continue.
ironic because Kamala helped raise money to bail out murderers, rioters, and thieves. But she thought I belonged in jail because I had a handicapped child.
To this day, at 22 years old, I suffer from full paralysis on my right arm and partial in my right leg.
Kamala Harris owes me an apology and my daughter an apology for what she did to us.
Family, Kamala Harris owes that woman more than an apology. She owes her reparations. America owes her reparations, just like America owes us reparations. This is the norm when it comes to Black Americans. This is how we're treated when it comes to Black Americans. This is how they literally target us when it comes to Black Americans. So ain't no damn way in the world we're going to allow anybody to come around here talking about reframing or redefining what blackness is in America, when blackness in America can't be redefined, it can't be reframed, because when you see what we go through in America, it is right there on network TV. They said the revolution will not be televised, but our pain and suffering will. Our pain and suffering has always been televised. So whenever someone try to come around here, try to talk that nonsense, you can show them in real time what we've been through. And that is also why we ain't gonna allow nobody to come around here talking about reframing or redefining what Black is in America due to the heritage of somebody who targeted Black Americans. We're not doing that at all. And for anybody, and I do mean anybody, who believes that we should, well,
shame on your black ass, all right?
And with that being said, family and friends, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you can be notified whenever videos like this drop. Please make sure you're hitting that like and share button so we can beat up the algorithm. Make sure we get this message out to the ears that need to hear. And if you have not done so yet, please make sure you hit that link in the description and go to change.org and put your signature on the petition for reparations. Family, I'd be down if I allow any one of these bootlicking, tap dancing, sandboing coons to come to us and tell us what we need to redefine or reframe for someone who had a cursor, a target on my people. And if you feel like you got the balls to come around us and actually say that, do not be surprised when you get snapped back on. Do not be surprised. And family, please make sure to snap back on these idiots. Make sure of it. For all my Supernatural fans, y'all notice I say idiots, right? Yeah, because a lot of these people are more than idiots, they're idiots. And make sure these folks know how much of an idiot they are. That being said, family and friends, the doors of the church are now closed. Peace, family.
So you know how those lids are because this is, well, I'm just gonna speak, okay? So this is it. So you know how those lids on those Starbucks cups, they're white, right? And so if you wear lipstick, they get all over the lid. And so then I find myself in meetings if I'm the only woman, and that's kind of, and so I keep taking the lid off and having my cup out so that I don't have that big lipstick mark on the lid. So I said, can we do something about the color of the lid? So that was that conversation.